Joining us now with his reaction is San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin. A quick verdict often said to favor the prosecution. What were your thoughts before it was announced?
Well, it's an important moment in American history, an important reminder of how far we have to go to ensure equal enforcement of the law and police accountability. I think the prosecution did an excellent job presenting the case. And it's important to remember this case wouldn't have even been filed but for a tremendous national protest movement that demanded action and response to the chilling and horrific video that showed a absolutely unnecessary death at the hands of a law enforcement officer. We have a long way to go when it comes to ensuring police accountability in San Francisco and across the country. Since the trial began less than a month ago, approximately 60 different people have been killed at the hands of law enforcement across this country. That's an average of about 2 a day. We need to change the culture. We need to change the behavior, and we need to ensure that everyone knows there will be consequences when law enforcement uses force unnecessarily or unjustifiably.
Going back to that video before this case even went to trial, so many people across the world saw that video of Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck. Do you feel that this was a slam dunk for prosecutors, and what message do you think that that verdict sends?
This was absolutely as strong a case as you're likely to see against a police officer. The whole thing was captured on video, numerous witnesses, unarmed man in handcuffs, really horrific and unnecessary use of force. It's a very rare case indeed when the chief of police comes in to testify against one of his own officers, and we saw that here. I can tell you I wish that I had that level of support for the cases we prosecute against police officers in San Francisco. And I think it's an important reminder of how many changes we still have to fight for. Procedural changes, legal changes. Just today, I testified at the State Assembly about a bill I'm co-sponsoring, Assembly Bill 127, which would eliminate some of the procedural obstacles to filing criminal charges against law enforcement when they break the law. We've got a long way to go. Assembly Bill 127 is a critical step in the right direction. And the work that the lawyers and investigators and my Independent Investigations Bureau are doing, including filing the first ever homicide charges against an on-duty San Francisco Police Department officer who shot and killed an unarmed black man. That work, those individual cases, even when they face challenges, even when we don't have the kind of strength and evidence that we had in the George Floyd case, is a critical part of ensuring the public that they can trust law enforcement, that there's equal enforcement of the law, and that there will be consequences, no matter who it is that breaks those laws.
Yeah, prosecutors in this case made a point of saying that this case wasn't about going after police as a whole. Their closing remarks even took a pro-police stance, that the bad officers hurt the good ones. Would you agree with that statement?
100%. You know, there's nothing that does more damage to the hard work that law enforcement officers do every day, the risks they take, the difficult job they do, than this kind of misbehavior, this kind of criminal behavior by someone wearing a uniform. It undermines public trust and it undermines public safety. And I know that the majority of officers, the ones that are doing good work, that are doing difficult work with pride and integrity, want nothing more than to see folks like Derek Chauvin eliminated from their ranks.
District Attorney Chesa Boudin, thank you so much for joining us.